Welcome to the Savvy Spirit Podcast. I'm Sharon Moore, your host and creator of the Savvy Spirit Entrepreneur Program. This podcast features conscious women entrepreneurs whose businesses are built on their unique gifts and are making the world a better place. You're going to learn about their journeys, their courage, their resilience, and their truth. So enjoy the show, feel the love, and get inspired. All right. Hi, everybody. So today we are with Katherine Kennedy. Now, Katherine Kennedy is a story and presentation coach. And rather than me telling you more about that, I'm going to tell you her tagline because it is so damn good. Ready? Speak to what matters. And now I'm going to do even more. I went on her website and these were the first 4 lines that I saw. I'm going to read them to you. Every moment, you have a choice. Stay safe or connect. Skate the surface or dive deep. Sum up the facts or speak to what matters. People, let's speak to what matters. Katherine, welcome to the show.
Oh, Sharon, what a beautiful intro. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here.
I'm so happy you're here, and it was so fun to learn about you and to check out your website. And I just love that tagline. How did you come up with that tagline? Was it hard?
Well, I did it in partnership with a friend. I went on a walk with her, and I told her about what I was thinking about doing. And we spent some time, and she helped me actually speak to what matters. She actually helped me uncover the gift that I wanted to give to others. And I didn't want to call myself just a public speaking coach. I didn't want to just call myself a presentation coach. I wanted to help people make meaning. And I knew that telling their story was one part of it, but the other part of it was finding their confidence and finding their voice. And so it emerged, and I was really happy about it because I wanted to differentiate myself in the space.
Yeah. And so as somebody, this was something that I was thinking also, I imagine if I was you and I'm looking at the world through the lens of storytelling and presentation skills, are you able to turn it off or is it always on? And as you're talking to people, you're thinking, oh my God, that would be such a good story. We have to tell your story.
Oh, no. In fact, what I do is I try to just learn more about somebody. So I don't think about the end game or the end result or the outcome. I just try to push in and get to know them in a deeper way.
Oh. And then through that process, are you just kind of pulling things out and then threading them together?
Well, that's what people come to me for because they know that they want to tell their story. They know they have a presentation. They have a TED Talk. They want to give a toast to their mother who's turning 80 years old, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And they want to speak with meaning and depth. They want to go deeper. They don't know how. So I listen and I ask a lot of questions and I try to get to know them in a deeper way to help them get to know themselves in a deeper way so that they can organize their message. And that's the simplest way to explain my process with anybody.
So you listen, you try to get to know them in the deeper way, and then you thread it all together for them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Amazing. Yep. And so have you always done this kind of work? How did you get right here, right now?
Okay, well, I will go back a few years. Yeah. I'm 46 years old. When I was 16 years old, I met a woman. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I am. And I'm the youngest of 4 kids, and I come from a pretty big Catholic family. And I met a woman when I was in high school who was passing through town showing her daughter Carnegie Mellon University, and she was friends with my parents, and she was from Bolinas, California. And I don't know if you know Bolinas, but it's a hippie town, and I was so intrigued by this woman because she was from California and she was a therapist, and she was thinking about starting a program called Summer Search. Mm-hmm. She wanted to send low-income kids on summer programs around the world, like Outward Bounds and community service trips. And I thought she was intriguing, and then I didn't think much of her. Mm-hmm. So 2 years passed, and my sister called me when I was in college and said, "Hey, Katherine, do you want to do something meaningful this summer?" And I said,
what was the answer to that question?
I said, I could really use some meaning at this moment,
Yeah.
Molly. So I was grateful for the call, and I said, hey, let me call that woman I met through mom and dad a couple years ago.
Mm.
She knows this field. So I did what you did in the early 90s. I picked up the phone. I didn't
Rotary.
schedule a call.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I called her, and we talked about summer options. And it was the first summer that she was sending students on programs, actually, because by the time I connected with her, she'd gotten her nonprofit off the ground. And anyway, she encouraged me to go to Kenya, which I then encouraged my parents to let me go to Kenya. And my sister and I went and lived there for 3 months and lived with the family and taught at a village school. And it was an amazing experience for me personally. It changed me in many ways. And I mean, it was meaningful. I found my purpose because on that same program was a summer search student. And I understood deeply that no matter who you are or where you come from, what matter and what your parents do or what they look like or what you've been through, what matters is how you show up as a person and how much you can give to others. And I just knew that I wanted to work with that intriguing woman out in California when I grew up.
And so
I know I was really lucky that I found this. Now Linda didn't know this. She didn't know that I had. So I called her the day I was graduating from Penn. I had changed my major to African American Studies.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was growing up, I thought I either wanted to be a teacher or the head of the United Way. So
I love it. That is a do-good heart.
Well, those are my models of giving back, and those are my models of being helpful and infused, my desire to be a leader as well. So anyway, I called Linda and said, I got into this program, but I really want to work with you. And she brushed me off.
Linda,
I know. Well, it was probably a good thing I went and taught, and I came and visited her twice. The second time I came to visit her in those 2 years when I was in Baltimore, she let me watch her do interviews at Oakland High School, which is a low-performing school over in the East Bay. This was back in 1994. Mm-hmm. And it was at that moment, I'm telling you this because what you have to understand, it was at that moment I saw Linda go into this school and meet with 10 kids in a row for 45 minutes each and start the interview with these words, which was, see those shoes, and she'd point to their shoes, and they'd look at her and she'd look at them, and she'd say, the goal of this interview is for me to get inside those shoes.
Wow.
And exactly.
Wow.
It was wow. I had just been spending, time as a middle school teacher telling kids to sit down, be quiet, and conform and learn material. I mean, it was kind of like, I thought I hit nirvana. Like I can learn how to open people up with safety and dignity. This woman could be my mentor. Wow. I can help kids. I could get close to people. It was kind of like, oh, this is everything. I thought summer search, the magical part, which it is, was going on these summer programs. But I learned in 45 minutes that what was so powerful about this program was the way that she helped students tell their story and learn who they are and figure out who they are and move through their fears and their feelings to move through life.
Wow.
So I know I felt so lucky. So we had a beer that night and clinked with the beer, and I said, I'll be here when I finish teaching. And that was 24 years ago, 23 years ago.
I have questions, but I'm also just want to acknowledge how deeply moving that moment was that you just painted in Oakland with the shoes and Linda. Wow. My question is, so in your time with Summer Search, is that what you did? Were you actually working with students and having them tell their story?
Yes. Okay. So I was a mentor. So I was Linda's first hire, and I became.
Okay. Now we like Linda again. Now we're back in good graces, Linda.
I was her first hire, and she taught me everything she knew. And I mentored students for close to 10 years. I probably mentored close to 1,000. When I met my husband, I said, you know what? I think you're amazing. This is in 98. I met him, but I want you to know I'm on the phone every night with kids. So you'll.
So how much do you love me? Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So if we stay together for the long term, just know that I'm married to Summer Search too.
Yeah.
And that's actually, I felt that way. I loved that program, and I helped build the program into with a team of people into a national program, and I was the San Francisco director. So I help people tell their story.
Wow.
I help people tell their story in little closet-like rooms in Oakland High School to get into Summer Search. I helped them write out their story when they came back from summer programs. I helped them tell their story in front of 500 people at huge fundraising events. I helped them tell their story in front of board members and donors, and I helped them navigate hard conversations with their parents. I mean, that was the role of the mentor, was to help kids talk and create, in a way, order and sense of their lives and help them move forward by telling and talking about their story.
And then you realize, well, shoot, this is obviously my gift. And what you suddenly transitioned into, I'm gonna do this for the rest of the world.
Well, actually, I thought that I would be at Summer Search forever because I loved it, and it was my kind of vision for myself. It wasn't the United Way anymore. It was kind of Summer Search or bust.
Right.
Right. And
so what happened?
And so I would say about 15 years in, and I'd met this amazing man, and I had 3 children. I have 3 school-aged kids right now. I feel so lucky. But over time, I got out of the center, and I started fundraising. And I actually loved fundraising for many, many years. I was helping alumni tell their story at events across the country. I was doing, and I just realized that I wanted to figure out who I was outside of this program. So, and I realized that I had a hunch that I had some real skills, and I wanted to help other people.
Good thing you had that hunch. And so here you are, this has become your identity. You have since moved to the other side of the coast. You have met your husband. You have made babies. You have started raising your kids. You thought this was forever and you can see your future. And suddenly you're starting to get all kinds of signs. Nope, I need to make a change. I need to make a change. How did that play out?
Well, okay. It took me about 2 years to really, truly leave. And I think we had a meeting with some alums. It was actually a Black male group, and one of the questions was, if you were not afraid, what would you do? And I trembled because I couldn't write the answer, because what I wanted to write was I would leave Summer Search.
Wow.
And I had Rashad on my left, and I had Aaron on my right, and I felt like I was betraying them by leaving. So, but I knew, and then I went out to lunch with another alumni who said, "Are you happy?" And I didn't tell her the truth. This beautiful woman, Helen, who I still am in touch with, I said, "Yeah, it's great. I love Summer Search." I just found myself not being as authentic as I had been for so long, because you actually can't push kids to grow unless you look at yourself and your own self-sabotage and relationships and... So I had some signs early on that I was stuck. And then what I did is I actually I did a coaching class called Playing Big. And it was really helpful. Within a call or two and reading literally the first 2 chapters of the book, I thought, oh God, I'm stuck in fear and self-doubt. I was
oh man, I hate when that happens.
I know. And I was caught in pleasing people. I was kind of in a way, on automatic pilot.
Yeah.
So I just knew what I had to do. It didn't mean that I did it right away, but actually I went on a walk with a friend and whispered that I wanted to help people create more meaningful moments in their lives. And that's the same friend who helped me with the tagline, "Speaking to What Matters."
Yeah. And so go ahead.
So I just build some momentum but I didn't know exactly what I was doing when I quit, but I did quit. And I actually didn't even know to call myself a story coach until 6 months after I had already even put up a website that I was a presentation coach. So it's been it's been organic, so to speak. It wasn't like I had this huge vision for myself leaving. I just knew that I had skills and I wanted to help people tell their story and help people find their confidence in their voice.
Yeah, I mean, you just hit on one of the three pillars that I consider are key to not just have a successful business, but to feel fulfillment. And in fact, it's something that we teach in our entrepreneur program. And that one is the trust in something bigger than you, the trust in the universe, whatever that word is that you use. You had it. You didn't know where you were headed. You didn't know what you were going to do. You were leaving something that you actually felt you were going to betray these beautiful people to your left and to your right, but you knew that call was there and you answered it. That is beautiful.
Well, I've been very blessed, and I feel so lucky that I feel so lucky that I can help more people. So I left with so much. I left with so much. What a gift.
Yeah. And you say there's a couple things that are standing out for me. One, you say that you left, but frankly, I don't know. I mean, you might have left in the day-to-day and the phone calls with the students, but your heart is still there, and it can be in two places. I feel like it is such a part of you.
It is.
And the other thing is, I'm not sure if I'm getting this right or wrong, but this act of you taking walks, it feels like that's your way to accessing truth or accessing clarity. Because two key things that you've shared already in the last couple minutes happened when you were taking a walk.
That's really good. I never thought about that. I actually use walking to think about what I want to write about myself. Part of what I wanted to do to coach people, I also thought the only person that's responsible for my own growth is myself.
Yeah.
So I'm working on blog writing. I'm eventually going to work on telling my own story. I have some ideas for 2018. And yeah, and actually it's the best time I can listen to the sound of my own voice, which I realized towards the end of my tenure there that I had lost the ability to. So I think any chance to be outside and in nature and connecting with yourself or with somebody you care about, I mean, what's better than that?
And I'm just going to say, you heard it here live, folks. We're going to hear her story sometime in 2018. It's recorded. Okay, so I want to also just point out a couple things. One, so here you were, you identified your unique gifts, you had the courage to trust, and now you find yourself as a business owner. And this is the third pillar that I look at, is just the straight up business skills, and what is our relationship to it? So I'm curious, is it something, not what I'm talking about here is accounting, marketing, business plan, P&L, break even, et cetera, et cetera. And I always like to hear from the women that I interview, is this something that you struggled with? Did you think you needed to master it yourself? Did you delegate all of it? How have you navigated the whole area of straight up business skills?
Okay. Well, one of the things I learned most in my 20 years, and I learned this from my parents too, but when in doubt, you reach out for help. When you don't feel like you know something, you get help. And you don't try to do it all yourself, which is so counterintuitive to, in a way, what we're taught to believe, that we should be able to do everything.
Right.
So I knew that I needed help. I found somebody to help me even just set up a Squarespace website. I knew that what you might have remembered from the beginning of this interview is that I said I was 46 years old. So I have not been raised in technology.
It's the only thing I've remembered, honey, is that you're 46 years old. That's all that's echoing in my head right now.
So technology it was and is a hiccup for me. So I've done what I can to reach out and receive the right help.
Yeah.
To start the website, but now she showed me, and I just have to. What I have to do is I just have to persevere, and I've learned how to. I don't call her anymore for help. I mean, I know how to navigate it and change it and tweak it and move things over, and so that's been great. I'm navigating the whole blog space and the whole in LinkedIn and email lists and MailChimp, and it's fun for me. I think I'm an entrepreneur at heart. Part of what I was bored towards the end too of summer search, meaning doing the same thing. Like I love firing on all cylinders. I love getting things done. I love being deeply responsive to needs and the needs in front of me and moving forward. It's kind of this both and.
It's
So,
both and. And I mean,
yeah,
you just made a little mantra that I like. When in doubt, reach out.
yeah, yep.
Boom.
That was a very, very pervasive saying at
Yeah.
summer search, which is good for everybody.
Yeah.
It's good for everybody. So in terms of and the other thing, I knew early on that I needed to spend the money on my QuickBooks and just invest in it. I just wanted to make sure I had everything simpatico, and that's been great. And I get so much joy sending invoices and receiving payments.
And receiving the payments. I think receiving the payments might be more fun than sending the invoices, but call me crazy. Okay, listen. I think there's got to be people who are interested, who want to tell their story. You said it earlier, and I relate because I need help telling my story. You know, we all must feel that we have a story and we just don't know how to thread it together. Or maybe some of us are like, me? Nah, I don't have a story. Right. So if there are people that are listening that are inspired to discover their story or piece it together and thread it together and get it out there, how do they become one of your clients? Are you seeing new people right now? Are there wait lists? Like, tell us everything of how we can work with you.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. Well, I think just to piggyback on one thing you said, I think people often don't realize that they do have a story. I mean, there's the big story, and there's the trauma, the story of trauma or overcoming hardship and triumph and resilience. And then there's the stories that make up so many other people's lives, and they don't see that they have a story. So I can help dig in and help people see themselves more clearly. So that I love equally.
Yeah.
In terms of getting in touch with me, I have a website. It's my name with San Francisco SF at the end. So Katherine Kennedy SF.com. Apparently there are other women in this country named Katherine Kennedy. So
no way.
Yes, I know. I know. So www.katherineKennedySF.com. I am taking off 10 days in the winter holidays, but yes, I'm responsive. I want to I'm working with nonprofits. I'm working with business professionals. I'm working with people of all ages. I've worked with some people in the public sector. I'm doing some coaching programs. I'm putting together a story workshop in 2018. So I would love to work with anybody who needs help getting their story and their voice and their confidence out in the world.
Okay. So we just need to kind of stay tuned to your website, see when these workshops happen. And I got to say, she's being a little bit modest. She's worked with some pretty, what's the right word? I don't want to say big time, but big time people in getting out their story. And I totally hear you that you want to work with all people, of course, but you have really helped a lot of people in your years, and all of your 46 years.
I do. There are a few TED Talks that are on my website that are illuminating and moving. So that might be something to check out too. People I've helped with their TED Talks.
Oh, perfect. Thank you for that. All right, so we are coming to a close with our interview, but before we actually sign out, I love to just open it up and see if you've got any words of wisdom or words of encouragement for our listeners. And our listeners tend to be either women who have existing businesses but are looking to transition or change their product and services, or even people who haven't yet started their business, who are needing that encouragement to step into it. So I just like to open up the mic and see if you'd like to offer anything to our listeners.
Well, I think that this is where you and I are in such alignment, that the universe does rise to meet you. And yeah, you have to hustle. I hustle a lot. I do a lot of networking. I do a lot of meeting with people. But the universe does rise to meet you if you have the courage to put yourself out there. I do believe that. And I also believe that women in particular, sometimes, I know for myself, for me to sell myself and my services, I had to get used to it, but I'm over it because I know that I'm making an impact. And I think that you can have a business that has, as you put in your Savvy Spirit podcast, is really based on doing good in the world.
Yeah.
And that's what I think that is so beautiful about women run businesses.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I'd like to just share, that it the universe does reward you in many different ways if you put yourself out there.
Yeah, the universe has your back, especially if you put yourself out there, and it's based on your unique gifts. You've got to gift these gifts for a reason. Bring them out. So beautiful. You're right. We're exactly aligned in that. Katherine, thank you so much for being here today and for sharing your story. I'm sure you've inspired our listeners. So thank you so much for being here with us.
You're inspiring, Sharon. It's my pleasure and honor to be here. Thank you for this conversation.
All right. Well, and to all my listeners, just so you know, it is such a treat for me to bring this caliber of woman, of entrepreneur, of inspiration. And I know it's going into your ears, into your heart, ultimately into action, and ultimately making the world a better place. And I am telling you, I cannot think of a better way for me to use my unique gifts. So with that, I am signing off. We will see you next week. Thanks everyone for listening. I hope you feel inspired and connected and alive. And hey, if you enjoyed the show today, leave us a review. And of course, if you want more, you can find us online at thesavvyspirit.com or on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All right, it is time to say goodbye, my friends. I wish you all a good night, a good morning, a good day, wherever you are on this earth. I wish you well, and I'll see you next week.